All right, it's another Write Once, Read Many. This time, we're talking about 19.y. Forgot to rename the stream, but now it's renamed. We have Vic here, as you know, it happens since it's one of those chapters.
One of them chapters.
What have you got to say for yourself?
My name is Greg, and I'm problematic. I really went into his mind to create this character sheet that I made, which I don't think is up on screen yet.
I think it's on screen, isn't it? Oh,
I don't think so.
That's my bad. I had the wrong display running.
I just want to talk about this all real quick. Because if I don't know, if you haven't been a part of the Tumblr community or the cringe community or the art community, you might not know that this is a really high quality character sheet for Greg's self-insert.
Normally they're way more cringe than this.
Usually they're more cringe, but I couldn't make it super, like, he's not like Tumblr coded enough. He's like too Reddit, you know what I mean? Like, I could have gone way harder if he was a little bit more Tumblr. You can put all kinds of stuff on there, but yeah, this is his, and I wanted to do this specifically because it is specifically something that I feel would be taboo to do in like the Parahumans online community, to like make your own version of like if you had powers or if you had triggers, because like it's kind of fucked up if you think about it. But like that's like the edge that he loves to dance on, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like the same to me. It's kind of the same as like, you know how in like some circles it's like pretty not okay to write fan fiction about real people, especially like influencers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in that zone where it's like, you probably shouldn't do it. It's a little weird. It seems like you have something, like you're dehumanizing people and like disrespecting their boundaries and stuff. But also, maybe it's a little fun.
Yeah. So let's say hi to the audience real quick. As always, 2 + 4 × 5 is driving to work. Greg's here, Vale's here, and Vale had joked before I showed the full image that this is the darkest group pick ever when it was full blank. And then Greg says, I like that it's done against the lines on the paper. And I was going to mention that, like, of course he would be like a total heretic and not use the paper right.
I have made so many character sheets this direction.
Horrifying.
For no reason. And it's yeah.
It's like you're tapping into your inner
power.
Greg for years.
I was like really channeling him earlier when I was working on this. I feel like because all nerds really want to be tinkers, but he's discovered that he's a thinker. You know, he's like, oh, I'm just so good at figuring things out, which is true. He did figure out Taylor's secret in this chapter, so maybe that's what pushed him over the edge. And then he didn't delve very deep into how his power would work because he's an idiot. But it gives him like a view into close alternate realities. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, but he is gonna have to learn like a weapon to do. How do you feel about these names? I think Voyager is really funny.
I looked at like vicinal to try to figure out, because I was not familiar with that word. I'm really stumped by words, to be honest. And I saw it's like it's like a chemistry term among other things where it's like it says right here relating to or denoting substituents attached to adjacent atoms in a ring or chain. So it's like I was trying to like figure out how that exact. I mean, I kind of get it because it's like realities that are closer than normal, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they're like
yeah.
linked
It'll
that
be
way.
like, I think his thing would be like he's like the center reality, and then he can kind of go like one reality off in a bunch of different directions. So
Mm,
that's kind of like this like the symbolism is very much like a derivative of that kind of, you
okay.
know, like
So
chemistry
he can move
bonds or whatever.
along the different streams, but only by one
Yeah,
adjacent.
only one because he's a loser. Also, I decided because he is a void cowboy. I think that like a bolo tie style. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's so lame.
his
Bolo
official.
tie with many strings? Question mark. It's just like,
It's so
dear
funny.
God,
This is what I would do. So it's like the bolo tie clip
is the
is
eye?
like it's
Yeah,
the eye, and then it like has multiple strings
this
with
is
like
so
one
VFD
bead.
coded.
With like one bead at the end of each of them. I think that's pretty fun. The beads could be like,
They can
do
be
we think
blue
they
like
should just be
teardrops.
loose and jangling around? Oh, maybe he should have some fringe. Oh my God. Okay. I don't know why. Is the space the Void Cowboy? That's just because of the game that he likes, right? Like, is he? But I
I
don't
think
know.
it's
I think
gotta
he wants to
be.
be a cowboy. I think he wants to be a cowboy.
Yeah, he wants to be one of those desperado capes who's like,
Yeah.
I'm just a cowboy, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's probably all I have to say about this character sheet.
Standing up to bullies for someone? Unfair rejection? Both?
Both. Like he would totally think that he would get a trigger from doing something heroic. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's bought into that, and then the unfair rejection is like a bad. Yeah, if I'm unfairly rejected, I am gonna lose
Yeah.
my mind and get.
Yeah, he's gonna get so he's well, I'm just imagining because this specifically is him standing up to Emma, Sophia, and Madison for Taylor, and then going for and then like Taylor rejects him,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
No,
then
that's exactly what
and
I was
that's his
imagining.
trigger.
Is that he's like Taylor,
It's
I
like a
love you,
double
and that's
trigger.
why I stopped them. And then yeah, if only I could have seen
Um,
one reality over where I said this 5 minutes ago, then I would have not said
mhm.
it.
It's so stupid.
Worst case
Anyways.
scenario, you say something embarrassing to a girl, then you have to die or get superpowers.
Greg said, oh, Vale said, by the way, I followed so many Tumblr worm channels. I don't know why I stopped. And then Greg said, I've given it a lot of thought. Turns out I'm a thinker. I'm going to sink into the floor so hard that I end up going into another reality. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm done talking about
He
that.
never even imagined he would be a mover because he's got to escape where he's made all those, horrible,
I,
embarrassing
it's
mistakes.
not that I think he would be a thinker. It's
It's that
that
he
he
thinks
wants to
he's to
think
be a
he's a
thinker.
thinker.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying he could equally get the mover power implied by Greg's sink so hard that he ends up in another reality.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you all remember Crixwell live read on? Not at all. Never heard of it.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I don't think I was that, and I don't think I can remember a single like Tumblr specific thing. It's like all been wiped out of my memory. I
Yeah,
just have the essences left.
I can
Like
like
I remember,
remember not the channel names, but like I can remember the types of posts. And I guess a few because there are some that are so like clear what they are. Like Pigstuck is just Pigstuck, so it's really hard
Mhm.
to forget the channel name. Um,
Mm.
a lot of the
People
Homestuck
Sports
ones,
5 says they check in on Crixwell's website weekly. That's funny.
dang, this
I
is like some sort of
check it
well-known.
out.
Gotten back to it, or was it like 3 years ago on Arc 20? I mean, that's a crying shame. Somebody stopping anywhere from arc 20 to 22. Like, I
Hmm.
guess I'm shocked if someone stops and it's not either really early on or at the beginning of the Slaughterhouse 9 stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's kind of the two breakpoints I've seen for almost every reader is like somewhere like arc 4 or 5 or arc 11.
Hmm.
Actually, 10,
That's
11.
funny.
But yeah.
All right, want to do audience participation reminder.
Yes, it's what would your parahumans online handle be, and what cringe things would you post about? Um, Neat. So I think you would
Nice.
love to talk about the themes.
The themes of this chapter are the internet, being an incel, conspiracy theories. Uh, uh, that's mostly it. I mean, it's like the interaction between the Cape community on Parahumans Online is really interesting. Like the way that a lot of these Cape wives and Cape husbands are like really invested in these chains and stuff, and are even like asking questions like, "What happened? What? Oh, I don't know what happened in Brockton Bay. I need to know more," or whatever. That's crazy.
Some of the
Um,
characters, like the way they post, I would be so embarrassed if I was the person they.
yeah, yeah. There's like confirmed capes on there. There's confirmed PRT members. There's confirmed or verified or whatever. Verified cape wives and cape husbands.
It's
They just
mostly the
call them
Cape.
cape wives colloquially.
It's mostly one of the Cape wives. I'm trying to. Um, uh, let's see here. The white collar being like, or my hubby can as barf.
Yeah, like it gives me weird energy, and it's like I don't know, you're like keyboard worrying. It gives it's like so military wives.
Yeah,
Which like I'm sure that's like what it's deriving from or whatever. It's like you're like talking about your husband like fighting on the front lines and like possibly dying and like going through all this horribleness and killing people, and you're like being all cutesy about it.
yeah.
And like I don't know, it gives weird energy.
My man's the strongest. No villain's gonna take him down. 2 months later, like sobbing. I mean,
But
I
I think
just feel like even the PHO people who like if they're following things closely, see people die all the time, seem to be
mhm.
really, really flippant about the fact that they're like watching people like literally live and die in front of their eyes.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy to me. Greg said I think it's more like cop wives. Um, yeah, that could be true. I've just had less interaction with that. By the way, I think my favorite part of this image is the hat with the question mark on top. It's so on point. Thank you.
Yeah, that does rule.
He's thinking about wearing a cowboy hat. His outfit's looking a little too ninja right now. Um, but I think the bolo tie really will really bring it all together. I'm
I
excited
think
about
he
the
can
bolo
pull
tie.
off cowboy without the hat if he's got the bolo tie. Because he'll
Yeah,
be like a
yeah. I think
ruffian or bandit from Old
yes.
West imagery.
Yeah, I think he could definitely pull this off with the bolo tie and the what's it called? The bandana
But as a
around
second
his waist.
question, do you really think that he's not gonna get the hat and justify it to himself somehow? I think he's gonna wear the
Listen,
hat.
I think that the hat will just keep getting knocked off of him, and since he's on the wards, they just like won't let him. They're like, you're spending all the budget on these hats because you keep getting them knocked off
Too many
and
hat
like burned
expenditures. It's
and
worse than medical
exploded.
bills.
And also, like, your hair is already in your eyes because you have a bowl cut. I tried to draw his hair like how he thinks it looks kind of cool, but he does have a bowl cut. Um,
Oh, he's got a bowl cut. Okay, my Greg didn't
that's
have a
what
bowl
the
cut.
wiki said, at
Oh,
least.
okay. I screwed up. My Greg was curly hair young
I
man.
just there's too many bowl cut characters. I imagine it's
Because
more
I thought
like
of
it's like
Oliver as the
this.
main bowl cut. Like that was in my
Yeah,
mind. He
Oliver's
took up
main
all the
bowl
bowl
cut.
cut slots.
I would do this one more like a shaggy bowl cut, where it's like a bowl in the front, but party in the back, you know.
I like this
Um,
imagination, like scrawny Greg. I thought he'd be kind of like slightly bigger, sadder Greg, if I'm being
yeah,
honest.
this is how I had drawn him because I had drawn
Oh yeah,
him
you got scrawny Greg in your early stuff.
yeah, in the early scene, so I had to follow through with that. Um, 2 + 4 × 5 says apparently Crixwell's last update was 19.4 in April 2022, and he finished Arc 18 in January 2021. Phil said he could be named Spurious and wear spurs. Oh
Oh
no, too
man.
space too spurious. Like what?
And not know that spurious is actually a word. Incredible. I
It's
would love
so
that.
bad. It's so bad. That's why I thought Voyager, because I wrote Voyager and then I wrote Voyager and then I was like, Voyager. So
So good.
stupid.
Void Pioneer. Rogue? I can't tell if he's asking if he should be a rogue or just saying, maybe my name should be Rogue, bro.
I do think Spurious is really good. Yeah, if spurious means fake or something similar here, let me look up the exact definition. Because that could be like
It
perfect because
does.
he's like a liar. Something false or inauthentic. Don't trust spurious ideas and stories. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's gonna be the one. I'll add it to his character sheet after this.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Did you want to
so,
talk about Brownie?
yeah, okay. Listen,
Speaking of conspiracy theories.
I'm saying this because I highly doubt, strong doubt, I press X to doubt that Wildbow will ever listen to this. So I feel fine talking about Browbeat and it won't hurt anybody's feelings. Um, I mean the Browbeat conspiracy is still strong. I still think the story
That
is.
Browbeat's alive and well.
I think the story is better when Browbeat is alive, as in the original version, where he even like literally comes back during the Echidna fight. It's real. Wildbow put it on the page. I believe it.
hmm
And I just think him defending the Leviathan double foot kick with his point blank telekinesis and then biokinesising himself not to die. I think
hmm
sometimes it's cool when street level capes do something epic. Like when Brandish just walks the fuck up to Leviathan, just uncaring if she dies or not. So,
hmm
I just like
Yeah.
those feats from low tier capes.
And it also like pulls it gives him like a revival, a comeback from when he didn't do literally anything in the bank robbery. Like he's like just wandering around in the dark the whole time.
Well, I also think it like shows because part of why he doesn't do anything in that fight is because Regent is taking him down like nearly
hmm
continuously. Um,
hmm
I just think that for a character like Browbeat who's like hard countered by Regent, that like shows like Regent is pretty good at stopping someone, and then to show someone like him surviving a blow from Leviathan, it like because again,
You're saying that Regent it could take down Leviathan
definitely what I mean. No, I
in a
just
March
think
Madness style.
the hard counters and stuff that like Regent has, it's just really interesting to give him ones that are really powerful. Um, I don't know it, and I think that having side characters like that are it's very compelling to me. So yes, I want it. I just want it for me. And I, you know, so anyway, we can
Yeah,
talk about the chapter.
R.I.P.
Rip
All
Browbeat.
right, let's get into it. This was such a hard chapter to write, so we'll see how we do. So we are. Oh wait, hold on. Vale said, I felt bad about that browbeat meme. It gets to Wildbow somehow, having to hear the same somewhat silly topic over and over thousands of times. It really says something that he went and
But see,
edited
the
out.
crazy
Yeah,
thing to
for
me
sure.
is that if he leaves in the part during the echidna fight, we don't have there doesn't have to be any editing. There is a
There
conclusive
doesn't have to be
in my
anything.
mind, the loop was closed. Like Browbeat was
I
out of
think
the
he
story.
killed Browbeat because then people would just stop talking about him though.
I
Because
know,
if he,
but he's a character who rules. He was
yeah,
very
yeah,
compelling to me, like on
I
first
get it.
read, without knowing
I
any of the
get that like
memes.
the probably like I just can't relate to like being memed on like by like thousands and thousands of people for several years. So like I'm sure that
Listen,
got to a point where
two
it
plus
was
four
pretty
times five
fucking
says
old.
Browbeat is a martyr, and I must say, Browbeat died for our sins. It's the
Oh my
audience's
God.
fault.
That's true. Oh no. Okay. Anyways, we are perusing through Parahumans Online user XX Void Cowboy XX's recent threads and notifications. Fun stuff. At Bagrat had started a thread recently to try to figure out, quote unquote, what the hell happened in Brockton Bay,
Great,
which
great username
I
by the
did
way.
find
Bagrat.
very
Like when they just say
humorous.
it in the reading, I'm just like, yeah, Bagrat. Of course, Bagrat.
Bagrat.
And like
Do
some
they say it differently?
no, it's just that like some of these names suck, and when you say them out loud, you sound like a moron. Like XX Void Cowboy XX, and some of these names are like Bagrat.
Yeah, Bagrat. So what the people know so far, they know that the dragon suits were deployed to the city, and then the next day there was the explosion at the town hall, and it killed Coil and his team and 30 odd people. Then June 20th is when there's this vague Class A threat, which is then escalated to a Class S threat hours later. And then a day after the fight, and still no one has reported what's going on, which is like not typical. So the board members are theorizing that that a portal to another world could have been this Class S threat. Like if that world is also full of capes, that could totally be the case. But not everyone is convinced, and they're still looking for alternate theories. And I have a quote here.
I'm going to get called a tinfoil hat, but what about that thing where the guy was talking about posts with the word it's cauldron, but with a starred out. It's not even like starring out a letter. It's just
It's just,
separating.
yeah, it's just separating it.
So cauldron getting screened if they weren't censored.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Anyways, trouble is brewing in the Brockton Bay Ground Zero private board. The mods have found that some people are falsely using this badge for clout and hijinks, when it's actually been really important in spreading news about the situation in
Some
Brockton
kind of
Bay.
real asshole. Some
Yeah,
fucker.
some kind of real piece of shit. And it also helps those who are still like in town with getting supplies and medical attention, which is like really cool that the community is pulling through in those ways.
Mm-hmm.
Vale said if Wildbow could have any power when he first wrote Worm, it would have been Victoria's Fly and Strength Package. By the time he deleted Browbeat, it would have been Contessa for Path to stop the meme. Okay, bye 2 plus 4 times
Bye.
5. Um, so veteran member at White Ferry has decided that photo verification is needed, or they will meet up in person with all members requesting that Ground Zero badge, and can also bring supplies if needed. And they're going to start banning those that they're not able to verify. And they do have a public list published for everybody they verified or banned, and it includes somebody named Char or Char, I guess probably Char for Charlotte. Interesting.
And we'll see
Um,
Shar in one of the other conversations later on.
yeah, basically just like confirms that it is Charlotte.
Mhm.
So down in the thread, Void Cowboy is just fighting for his life, trying to keep his Ground Zero Brockton Bay badge. And I have a
Oh,
quote here.
he's fighting for his life. Sorry.
He is. Listen to this.
Wait, Barry. At Void Cowboy, you're exactly the type I was talking about. Where do I even begin? Your posting hours on the site suggest you've got something occupying your time from early in the day to evening, like maybe school. Except there's no school in Brockton Bay yet. Soon. You state your location as the north end of Brockton Bay, profess to have a generator and satellite internet. Okay, not unheard of, except you've apparently got enough gas stockpiled to keep the generator going 24/7, and oh yeah, you're in Bitch's territory. Bitch would maim or kill you for being in her territory, let alone making the kind of racket a generator does. XX Void Cowboy XX. I have a quality generator that doesn't make much noise.
It's a really funny response.
I used a silencer. They couldn't hear me. I was wearing digicamo. I didn't show up on the cameras. Sorry, I was
So
just assuming for the responses.
the other members are not convinced by this, and they all shame Void Cowboy for being a clout chaser when the rest of them have been in the trenches. Phil said, "That sounds spurious." On
From the
June
mind
26th,
of Spurious.
on June 26th, we get confirmation from a new thread that Legend is stepping down from the Protectorate due to quote unquote family reasons. The board discusses who will be stepping up to lead the Protectorate, as there have been additional rumors that Eidolon and Alexandria may be stepping down as well. And the Cape Geeks have noticed that there's been like a lot of animosity towards the triumvirate, especially from the Case 53s. And someone mentions Weld going off to make his own team, and Weld himself comes to the chat and jumps in,
It
and he says
rules.
something like, yeah, I love him. He says something like really PR about like he's like, I don't have any animosity towards the Protectorate and will still happily work with them. But he has started his own team, the Irregulars. The quote.
I want to say before I read the quote that the beginning of us reading this board page is a response from Greg to what's happening, and he's like, "It should totally be Eidolon." He's such a moron.
Mhm.
Like he's a forum frequenter, and he still said something that like noobish. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the polled part is answer key at Weld. I have questions. 1. How much did they pay you guys to keep quiet and play nice? 2. I notice you said you don't have issues with the Protectorate as a whole. You're not denying there's issues with one or two prominent members? 3. What the hell happened on the 20th? 4. How is making you leader of the Brockton Bay, or the wards in Brockton Bay, a good thing? And then I put below this when I was reading this because you hadn't commented on it. What the fuck is meant by point 4? They sure seem like
Uh,
one of those anti-Case 53 people.
yeah, I think that because I read it a couple times, and I think that they mean like that things were so like dangerous and bad that like how could you view that as like a positive thing, that the Protectorate was basically putting him in a shitty situation. That's how I took it, but it also could be that because there's like other people in this board that reference the Case 53s as monsters, which I don't know if there's like layman vernacular, like the people outside of capes don't call them Case 53s, I guess. But it's just the public.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, but in reference to what's being said, he's saying that the Protectorate's plan was to have someone like him make inroads with the public by being in a public facing like leadership position, and then
Mhm.
they're just like, how is that a good thing? And it's like,
I think that
what?
it was because he says specifically,
Because
um,
I was just rereading it at We collectively agreed that the Protectorate's plan to build a rapport between us Case 53s, as the Protectorate terms us, and the public was
Mhm.
sound, making me leader of the Brockton Bay Wards, for example. It was too slow, and we could do more as a group.
Yeah, I don't know. It just comes off to me that they're like, well, in retrospect, it was a like they put you in a shitty situation, but it like it still doesn't make any sense. Um, so in our new chain, hold on, Vale said the Irregulars is not a good name. It's one of the few not good names in Worm. My 2 cents. I agree. When I like was recalling reading this and I was like Irregulars.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I think the Irregulars is a shit team name. It does have, I guess, a standard real world significance. Because there have often been groups called like the Irregulars who have like different military skill sets than a standard unit, who do like some specific job, and I think they were trying to evoke that, but
Mhm.
that it doesn't come across well.
No, it's a little cringe, and it also is like naming your team. I mean, I don't know, maybe like it feels like a reclaiming kind of thing. I was gonna say naming your team after this, like after the fact that you guys are like being discriminated against is kind of weird, but maybe I don't know, like maybe it's like more like reclaiming or empowering or something. I don't know. It's not irregulars is just not the name I would have.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I think they could have come up with something better, but I don't have anything off the top of my head.
I don't
I
have
think
any
that they were trying to
suggestions.
come up with something that didn't paint them as monsters and also
Mhm.
acknowledged that they had
Yeah,
non-standard
acknowledge
human
the
bodies.
differences.
Yeah.
Um, Greg said hashtag not all Gregs. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so we're on a new chain. The Endbringers, as of June 28th, they're predicting the next attack around August 30th and in Eastern Europe. Space Zombie is convinced that this attack is going to be a clusterfuck, though a PRT employee jumps in and says that the PRT changes won't have a big impact on their success if the attack is outside of North America. Because it's going to be, I think they said it's only like 25% American capes or something like that. Um, Someone asks where they should travel to stay safe during the attack, and a board member suggests Brockton Bay, as lightning doesn't strike twice, and they seem like they're really pulling themselves back together as a city. And someone else jumps in that that's only viable if you don't mind the fact that supervillains are still running the city. um, so they kind of go over, they give the lowdown on all of the villains. Skitter, 5 stars. I just thought that's so funny. They're like star ranking everyone. There's no crime. There's free food, water, power, and work available. OP knew somebody who ran into trouble there, and then creepily just had all their stolen stuff returned, along with an apology note and cash. And that freaked out that individual and they left, but that seems kind of nice. Vale said, beep, Bugville. Or is this a correction? I'm not sure. Um, then there is
I think it's
Parian's
Greg
area.
censoring his words again.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, 5 stars. That's what we were
five
saying.
stars. I see. 5-star Bugville. Parian, if you want to stay there, you can have a clear conscience because she's actually not a villain. She's like a rogue or whatever.
Well, the technical
Gru.
labels.
Gru's area's got mixed reviews. He's not like super involved, but he mostly keeps like crime down. Imp's area has too much crime. Regent has his area basically
Didn't
only
they kind of
has
send
a
her there as a new territory because they knew she could clear it out?
yeah, I think that's what's going on. And then like people are like
They're kind of
because
attributing it wrong because They have it backwards. She's there because it's a problem. It's not a problem because
Mhm.
she's there.
Yeah, exactly. A Regent's area, it only has a couple places, but they're really nice and really expensive. And then Bitch has her own crew now and is kind of only in more remote areas. And Tattletale seems to be just working behind the scenes, without her own area. So speaking of Bitch, at Wag the Dog, hilarious username, creates a thread under the Undersiders board inquiring how she can become a henchman. It's literally so, like, this part of the thread is so funny. She
Everyone's
says
kind of like,
she
you're acting like a moron right now.
she says she loves dogs and badasses and wants to get in on her crew. Shar hops in to say she's sent Wag the dog a DM, and 2 days later she updates that it's harder than she thought, but it's all been good. So that's cool. Bitch got her own little recruit there. On Skitter's discussion thread, one user sums up the conversation pretty succinctly. If you want to read this.
Yeah. Um. So Whedon the Ripper fan, or Whedon Ripper fan rather. Um. This conversation's going nowhere. She's bad, but she fought an Endbringer. But that doesn't change the fact she's bad. But she saved lives. But that doesn't change the fact that she's bad. But she keeps the peace. Aside, anyone else find it really funny that we're talking about Skitter being powerful like we used to talk about Kaiser and Lung? If you'd told me the gawky bug girl was going to be one of the scariest motherfuckers in town, I wouldn't have believed you.
It's very funny. So the board starts discussing who Skitter might be behind the mask. And all this talk about powerful woman pulls XX Void Cowboy XX back into the IRL. Um, and we learn that this is Greg.
It's so funny learning
So
it. Oh, I gotta pull out there's a couple things we've skipped past that I think are worth noting. Did we talk about his conversation with Svet at all?
I'm about to.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. I thought that we had missed the part earlier, but
I mean, I skipped it, but because
uh,
it's not really relevant.
okay.
But
Okay. Sorry.
so he's thinking about ladies. He immediately thinks of another tall, smart, vicious, and unhinged girl that he knows, Taylor Hebert. He tried to shoot his shot with her and was kind of annoyed that she wasn't on board for the geeks banding together. And then that's when I say he's probably feeling moody because he's been talking to his online friend G-String Girl today. And when he offered to meet up, her suspicious response made him sure that she was just another creep. But you can talk more about her if you want.
Even
That's
if she
basically all I said.
even if she wasn't like Sveta body, like she could have just been like in a
She
wheelchair
was
and
like, my parents are
ashamed of
too
it.
strict, and that's
Yeah.
totally reasonable.
That too, yeah. But I just mean like
It's,
there's so many different reasons and like uh the Void Cowboy is so like pushy and shitty. Yeah.
yeah. It's so weird to like because I would have like I would have had the same response. It's 2011 or 20 yeah, it's 2011. It's like people are parents especially are not going to be pro letting their kids meet up with internet people. Like that's not this would be
Like
a
the
thing that
fact
I
that
would
he
never have
thinks
been
that
able to
she
do.
is another teenager means that like it seems less likely that she'd be allowed to do something like that because he doesn't think she's like a full adult with her own like I don't know,
Yeah.
full choices in her
Yeah,
life.
she says I can't do this because my parents are too strict or whatever.
Yeah, it's
And
just like it from a logical standpoint, it doesn't make sense because he's approaching another teenager from that's his own perspective on the situation,
mhm.
and so what she's saying lines up with that. I don't know. He's so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so dumb. Um, and Speta's like quote unquote lying is pretty it doesn't come off as lying, it comes off as like pretty believable because it's all like she's basically just changing words. Like she talks about the institution that she's in as her parents, and then like the other people there as her siblings. And like that's basically the only thing she's changing. Like she's like straight up like my parents are really strict. The place that I'm at is really strict. Somebody else needs to use the computer. I have problems using the controls. Like she's not really lying about anything. Um, I mean, she is lying, but you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't come off like she's like a weird, creepy liar.
These aren't. She's not like trying to get one over on him. She's just trying to not reveal everything about herself.
Yeah. Um, but so speaking of creeps, I have a quote here.
Um, Was Taylor a creep of an entirely different sort? A degenerate villain? An upstanding villain? He could visualize her, sitting in class, tense with anger and frustration, the lines of her face hard as she bottled up a million little indignities, and more than a few big ones. It wasn't that hard to imagine. Was Taylor Skitter?
Oh my God. So the more he thinks about it, the more he's convinced. And I get it. She's pretty distinct.
He's fairly skitter
And
coated.
yeah, and he's thinking, he's kind of worrying because he's like, well, if I figured this out, then others will too, like her
It was
parents or
all
the
too
bullies.
obvious.
Yeah, but luckily school is actually starting up again tomorrow, and maybe she's planning on going.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting. Pretty interesting. And that's all.
Did we talk at all about the condolences?
No, I was gonna talk about it. Uh, I think I put it in. Yeah, I put it in the powers, knowledge, and world building. The topic, who'd you lose? But we
Okay,
can
okay.
talk about. I was thinking we could definitely do powers, knowledge, and world building first because it like it's kind of just like sewn into the
Yeah,
chapter.
let's flip flop how we normally do it. Let's do the powers knowledge. Actually, wait, let's hit arc stuff really briefly. Um,
Okay.
I think that this is a great interlude. I think it's like amazing for ending this section that, like, as I've referred to it a few times, stolen terminology from We've Got Ward or whatever, We've Got Worm, that it's like a movement of the story. I think that we are at the end of the third of five major movements of the story. Um,
hmm
and I don't know. I just think it's like kind of a big deal, and so they Wildbow he hits us with the like in a special chapter. We've never gotten something like this, and it's really I think getting into Greg's mind before like for so long before we realize for sure it's Greg. Like I don't think I had
hmm
any idea that it was Greg until it was like zoom out, it's Greg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
I
we
didn't
like
connect the dots.
we like barely met him at the beginning, but then when you're like, oh,
Oh
like this
my
totally makes
god,
sense,
it's
like
fucking
in
Greg.
context. Yeah, and I think the way that he formulated the message board was really interesting. I kind of wish, or like maybe would hope for the future that um they could make like a more interactive, like I mean I can totally imagine this being done by like on a Homestuck page where you're like interacting with the forum a little bit more, um where it's like set up like a forum and maybe there's like different tabs or something and you can like click on the notifications and then see it,
That would be
but
really
like
good. Like one of those early Homestuck pages where there's like a
yeah.
decent amount to read, a decent amount to click on, but you kind of move at your own pace and there's not really an ordering to things. You just kind of either
Yeah.
can look at all
Yeah,
of it
because
if you
I think
want or
the
not. Mhm.
Yeah, because I think like the ordering to this stuff isn't like super important. Like if you're looking at the dates and stuff, you can really follow what's going on.
I think
Yeah, I
everything
think
is happening on July 6th in all of these
uh-huh.
messages. And
Yeah, he's
additionally,
checking.
mhm.
Yeah, so at the top it kind of like throws the guidelines out, which does make it easier to follow, like exactly how this is formatted. But I think that we could kind of, if it was a little bit more of like a interactive page, then you could throw those out. But it's you're viewing threads you have a reply to, threads that have new replies, private messages, private message conversations with new replies. Thread OP is displayed, 10 posts per page, last 10 messages in private message history. So you're really seeing like just a snippet. When you scroll through these, you can see like how much interaction has happened on each page, which is really interesting. So on the what the fuck happened in Brockton Bay, we're on page 242 out of 243. And
Yeah, so there's
then
thousands of posts on that.
yeah. And then in the one where they're getting verification for the Ground Zero users, it's 4 of 4, so seemingly it's just been Void Cowboy and White Fairy arguing this whole time with like other people jumping in and shaming him.
I think the impression I got is that there's so few people in this board that like there's 3 or 4 people who are already confirmed previously. There's the 6 people or 6 or 7 people, whatever, who get confirmed here, and then the 3 people getting banned, and that's like kind of the whole shebang. It's like 12 people total, and they're just like, fuck you, liars.
Yeah. Bill had said Sveta might have been the one to name the irregulars. That's funny because Sveta does like go like super strange with names. Like G-string girl is crazy.
Holy shit. Like what a failed name. But also the reason I can tell you that's
so
not
funny.
correct is because if they were named by this chapter, Weld has not gone to meet
Weld
up with
hasn't met her
Sveta
yet.
yet. So haha.
Phil said, hair, height, gait, body are kind of exact matches. I think it would be impossible not to see Taylor with Skitter. Yeah, like we've said before, the body structure along with the black curly hair is just, it's like pretty distinctive. I don't know. Also, okay, what is the thinking behind Boy Next Door on the character sheet? That seems like when you write, then tear up the sheet and start again. I know, I thought it was funny.
Boy Next Door. Hell
Boy Next
yeah,
Door.
brother. He would be Boy Next Door on the same team as Kid Win.
I
Oh my
agree.
god.
I feel like Kid Win and
Boy Next
Clockblocker
Door.
would like pump him up. They'd be like, yeah, that's a great. Clockblocker would be more memeing.
Well, see, Clockblocker would say it to like make fun of him, and then he would get Kid Win in on the joke, and Kid Win would feel bad because he would feel like his name
he
sucks
has a
too,
stupid-ass name.
but he would still go along with it because it's Dennis. I think that's my fanfic.
I wasn't gonna write it because when I thought Boy Next Door, I was like, that's so funny, and then I wasn't gonna write it down, but then I
That's
was
so
like,
dumb.
no, he would maybe consider, because he thinks he's like a hashtag nice guy, you know. He's just Vil 100% agree. He would make it as a surprise announcement at their urging. He would go like out in front of the public and be like, I'm Boy Next Door.
Yeah. My god.
Oh, so funny. Okay, so yeah, the Protectorate, let's see. The thread about Legend leaves for the Protectorate that had a lot of interaction, 1,180 pages. You just multiply them by 10 for the amount of posts.
Yeah.
And then the Endbringers thread, they have been creating a new thread every time they fill up the entire thing. So they're on 34, thread 34 right now. So that's really funny. I don't know where it fills up at, but it's at least whatever, the 2,000 probably.
I wouldn't be
And then
shocked
the
if it was
Henchman
like
one didn't
something
get a
like
lot of
5,000
interaction.
either.
Yeah.
Oh.
It could have been. And then Brockton Bay discussion. Oh, the Who'd You Lose one. That was 17 pages, so pretty sad.
And okay, so something I wanted to point out in the Who'd You Lose is that no one except everybody put no condolences NC, like literally everyone except Greg, who fucking made up his story. Oh my god, he needs those
I I
condolences.
could believe that an aunt and or uncle had died, but like I feel like it would be like a far off aunt, like his third twice removed or something like that, and then like the story is just like totally made up.
Yeah. How do you know the story if you weren't there? Leave me alone.
And leave me alone. I did love that reaction.
And
He's like, please, please, I can't do this.
because it's like it's
Um,
specifically White Fairy who like sees him as this fucking liar on all counts.
she's like following him around and fucking diss him. It's so funny. Um, yeah, so um on the Who'd You Lose, there's like, quite a few people posting. So one person posted like, I didn't lose. Nobody died, but these are like the people that I lost because of it. Other people posted about actual deaths. White Fairy says, "My boyfriend, he was in a shelter at Leviathan attacked. Only about half of us made it. One of the heroes bailed us out, distracted the Unbringer, and led him away. No condolences." Um, Interesting. And then Vista is also there. It's very sad. She just lists everybody who died. She also lists Arms Master, which I guess is sort of like a loss or whatever. Like he was forced to retire or whatever.
Well, after this event, he was Arm Master, so
Yeah, Arm Master.
they lost the S. She didn't just want to
Um,
put the S alone, though.
Vale said, "That's Skinner." Yeah, it's Skinner who saved her. Um, I don't think I have anything else to say about the condolences. We can talk about tinfoil hats. It's very funny. Every time somebody says something that's actually the truth, which is like, huh, maybe Cauldron's involved, or huh, oh shoot, what was the second one? It was the person, hold on, let me find it. It was the answer key. How much did they pay you guys to keep quiet and play nice?
Yeah, and
Um,
then that's
they also,
tinfoil hats ahoy for the whole post there.
yeah, yeah. So it's like anytime they say something, like I know they didn't pay them off, but they're getting at what actually happened or whatever, then everybody's like, you silly conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
Vale said, I'm glad he didn't lose both arms. Cringe name result.
Master.
Master. Oh God.
Oh wait. Okay. So for the fake uncle, I do have a sound clip.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna read Void Cowboy's thing about his uncle. Then I'm gonna play the sound clip. So my aunt and uncle, they were attacked by Chosen, dragged out of their homes, and beaten. My uncle fought back and smashed this one guy in the nose and wrestled a gun from his hand, but got punched in the throat and dropped the gun. He fought back some more, but eventually got knocked to the ground and shot. I wasn't there, but I heard he went down like a hero.
My uncle! My uncle!
There we go. So we got that delightful sound clip from the Greg audio. Um,
Stupid. And also, like the way he told the story reminds me of that audio clip that's like, and then I shot, and then I missed, and then I shot again, and I missed again. Like, he's like, and then he fought back again, but then he didn't win, but then he kept fighting.
I think this is a great example. Like Wildbow can just be like, "Look, isn't it good that my writing isn't Greg writing?"
Yeah.
And then everybody
Yeah.
clapped.
And everybody clapped.
Thank you, Greg.
Oh my gosh, it's so stupid. Okay, tinfoil hats, Brockton Bay Ground Zero badges. I find that really interesting. They have these badges and like seemingly, because I could have like figured this was posturing at first, where they're like, oh, like we need to get people, because I can totally see this happening on Tumblr. We're gonna be getting people medical supplies, and like you guys are like clogging the system and like causing problems or whatever. But then White Fairy, it like confirms they like went all these places and provided supplies like upon request or whatever. So it does seem that like the community's been like really like using
PHO is a
this
bit
to
more
like take care
serious
of
than
each other.
Tumblr. Like
Yeah.
PHO, I'm pretty sure that whether it's public or not, Dragon is the person in charge of PHO behind the
hmm
scenes, and she will ban your ass for
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For that shit. Um, yeah, so that's fun. Do you want to talk any more about Parahumans Online as a whole? It's like a pretty interesting community. I haven't been a part of like I haven't been joined to any forums or message boards or
I've never
anything,
been in
but
a
it seems
message
like this
board
is
this
pretty.
orderly.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like this is more like there's a lot more structure and stuff. They like enforce things. For example, you can't start a thread without providing providing your own input or your own information or whatever, which is weird to me, but okay. Um, and then like the badges like all require I'm not sure what verification they were using before, like maybe just like knowledge, like specific knowledge about Brockton Bay or something, because like now they're moving to pictures or meetup because a lot of people don't have camera phones or whatever.
I think to a certain degree they were taking it on faith at the outset.
Yeah, I mean they said they were doing verification, but they were probably just like double like, hey, you have this badge. Is this true?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I don't know, it's pretty like you said, it's like pretty structured and orderly, and um I don't know. It seems like it's like they do a good job at keeping like good information on there and stuff. Like you wouldn't read it and like get a bunch of misinformation. Kind of like a wiki or something where like yes, it's public to update however you want to, but most of the time you can rely on the information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um it's I mean, if PHO was real, I'd be on here, you know. I feel
I'd
like
be all up in this bitch.
yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would be such a big Capes nerd.
Yeah, for real. It's like
It's like everything,
the most insane
like,
shit in the world.
I know. Vale said, Dragon's biggest pet peeve about her rules is that she can't make an AI to automod for her. She has to do it all one post at a time.
Good thing she can look
She's
at
like
so many
personally
posts.
reading. She's like, this motherfucker, Greg,
And
can't stop cussing.
she's like, if
That's-
I found out that that it's Taylor and Greg found out that it's Taylor, everyone's
then
gonna find
anyone
out.
could.
Dragon's like, I thought I just figured out because it was me.
Oh my God. It's like so funny that they're the only two people that have figured out. It's like such a big, it's not, because like, not that Greg is stupid. He does seem to be like kind of, okay. Well, let's talk. Do you have anything else for Powers, Knowledge, and World Building? And then we can talk about Greg.
If I think of anything, I'll come back to it. I think
Okay.
let's talk about Greg for a minute. I did move him
The
to the
way-
bottom of the character
the-
list because I always like to talk about the biggest, juiciest fish at the end. But
Okay, fine. We can start with the bag
no.
rat.
You say what you were gonna say real quick, and then we'll jump back to him in a minute. We'll give him
I
that
was
double
just gonna
dip.
say, I was just gross. I was just gonna say that the way that he describes Taylor, like, lends itself to like having like pretty good emotional intelligence and like that's why I don't just like write Greg off. Like I don't think he's just like a little shit boy, nice guy or whatever.
If you remember
think-
how he acts in class and how he is on the forum, it kind of all lines up. I think that he kind of knows what he should be doing, but is instead following compulsions.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he should know. But like the way that he describes like looking at Taylor and like her facial expressions, like her like basically like glowering but like trying to keep it in or whatever. I don't know. It was like, oh, he like does actually he like did actually notice her and think about her. It wasn't just like, oh, there's a girl here.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so I found the way that he described her and thought about her to be like, I don't know, pretty interesting. And so it like makes sense that he could figure out that it was her, but like not necessarily other people. Like that's basically what he thinks is he's like, well, the bullies might be able to figure it out, but probably not because they have like this weird conjecture of her that isn't true.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really it's weird because and I think that this is true of many people, including myself as a teenager. They're just like things where you can get a deep insight on somebody
Mhm.
and have like really obvious blind spots about them anyway. And I think that's kind of
Yeah.
the thing that Greg has, where he has this deep read that allows him to see her as Skitter and see like her negative emotions, but he still fucking hands her paper over to Julia like an idiot.
I know.
So like
She's like, let me see that, Greg. And he was like, okay.
he just doesn't think it through. Like he acts like moment to moment and does not take
Yeah,
like a split second
from
to.
from his wiki, I think Wildbow had said something about him. Let me read it real quick because it's very much that. It's like he has impulse issues. Um, let's see. These are I wanna make sure that this is actually from him.
Oh, okay. So there's a bunch of people. Okay, I'm seeing trivia now that I was reading while we were doing this. That
Mhm,
a bunch of the different people in the chapter are people who post in the below that stuff. So Bagrat is Packbat, the Gnat is the Ant, Space Zombie is Undead Spaceman, which is the person making this post, and he said, "Here, whoever." I smiled when I saw this. That I really did. So Thoth is Yogg, and Mock Moniker is fake name, which I recognize
mhm.
a lot of these, especially like fake name. I've seen posts from. But
I'm just gonna post this blurb that Wildbow posted about Greg. I'm not gonna read because it's really long, but and I don't want to read the whole thing, but I'll just read the beginning.
mm,
Um, In the social sense, Greg is like a car with bald tires, no brakes, skids like hell. He takes a topic, then runs with it, and faced with an obstacle or problem, he takes far too long to quote unquote get it and actually stop or change direction, even after other people would have just realized they can't or shouldn't move forward. So I think that's a good. But I'm just gonna post this in general. This is on the Reddit for. Oh, it says my message is too long. Bullshit. Hold on.
yeah, snipe it in half.
Yeah. This is on the Reddit for r/worm fanfic 8 years ago. So I guess somebody's writing a fanfic about Greg.
Other ones were found. Answer key. It's a very similar naming scheme, but it's like ANZER apostrophe KE. Um,
Mhm.
let's see here. Sensor Eel was Mr. Moray. Reeve was Revine. Max Dual Rocket Propelled Grenades was MC2 RPG. Um, and let's see here. I guess people were surprised they didn't see one that they thought was associated with Psycho Gecko.
Hmm.
One of the most frequent posters and one of the ones I can like think of off the top of my head.
Hmm.
Dang, this is pretty long.
Yeah, I told you. It's like it's a lot of information. Um, but we can talk about Bag Rat.
Well, I just thought that Crispy's line delivery was like epic during this. He's like, look at my badges. And then you can sort of hear him put his hands together like fuckboy energy, and he's like rubbing his hands probably while he says all this bullshit. So
Yeah, I also put him on the. It's so funny because I was like, oh, he's back on the character list because I had put him on the character list originally and then taken him off. But like, I put him on because he that like line that he's like, I'm the Cape Geek of Cape Geeks. I'm the one that people go to about this stuff, and I
I'm the
cannot
guy in
figure
the
out what's
know.
happening.
Dude, Crispy's voice, I wish I talked like Crispy. He's so cool.
You could if you really, really tried. You could train yourself.
If I did that as someone who lives in America and who has more or less always lived in America, that would be
Mhm.
so cringe.
I know, but you could do it.
I could.
There's nothing stopping you except your own
Except
your
my
own
own
pride.
cringe. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
true.
so Bagrat is just like I represents the fact that like even the people even the people who know everything like cannot parse what's happening in Brockton Bay, like it's being covered up so much. And it's only what like 24 hours since the end of the Echidna fight or whatever, but it's just like not usual for them to like hide this stuff, especially an S-class threat. It's crazy.
Well, okay, so the thread starts 24-ish hours after the fight ends. Well,
Right.
but it's been going for weeks at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about White Fairy?
I want to talk about the fact that White Fairy's name proves that you can put a space in your name, and so does laser augments, meaning that the
Yeah.
underscore in Void Cowboy is just like some.
It's like a preference. Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was reading this as well.
Also, I thought laser augment, I thought could be Laser Dream because of the way that they talk. The part "you fuckers make me sick" like honestly does sound like something Crystal would say.
That's funny.
Because she and Victoria kind of share that like crass way of speaking and stuff.
Mhm.
They kind of talks how I talk.
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry. What were you talking about? I was making fun of the underscore, and then you said something important. Really?
No, I didn't. I said I thought the same thing
Okay.
about the underscores.
All right.
We can talk about G-string girl. Speta,
What
come
a bad
on.
fucking name. Like, I don't know if she didn't look
I
it
mean,
up.
it's very
Like, oh, it's the
very
garage.
funny.
Oh, it's funny.
No,
'cause-
she claims that she did it because it was funny. Like I remember her, I think that maybe she says it in Ward, but like she makes a comment about it and she's like, "Yeah, like I thought it was like pretty silly or something like that." And it's like it's not really silly. It might have been like she made this before she had like a good understanding of the social norms
That's what I was
around
thinking. That's
here,
what,
like in America.
that's what I was hoping.
That like she's like, oh, it's like funny or whatever because it's like a G-string, but then she's just not like thinking about like a larger connotation.
Yeah. I mean, it is a double pun because of Garot, but like it's
Yeah.
just it's so
It's funny
oh my god.
but she's like talking with teenagers online.
Yeah, she's like chatting up a teenage boy.
She's like being a teenager right now, and so that's like it's just a little strange.
Sorry, my strict parents, they're fine with me being G-string girl, but
Yeah,
but they'd notice if I sent a picture. Cause like I guess there is the idea that like if her parents were going to care about that, then they would notice the name. Like maybe that's factoring into his calculus.
Mhm.
It's very oh my god, Sveta, come on.
It doesn't really fit her personality either. So like it comes off like you're like fishing for people with that name or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all. Sveta has been flirting with this boy online. But then it's just too much when he asks to come visit, which I agree. That's like stressful. He also could have been a weird creep. You never know.
I mean, the way he acts seems like he Indeed, may the
Yeah,
Lord
and
be.
then he totally ghosts her when she says that she can't meet up or whatever, which is crazy. Vale says, or maybe it's her real name, so she just doesn't get the connotation.
She
Who
doesn't remember her
knows?
former life or how to speak, but she
But she
remembers G-string girl.
but she does remember G-String Girl. It was like whispering to her in the night. And she's like, "Ah, that must be my name."
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God.
And when you translate it to English, it just sounds like a totally different thing.
Like
Um,
in
mhm.
Mysterious Benedict Society, there's this character named Milligan, and it's because he like lost his memory, but then all he could like when he came to, like the only thing he could remember was Milligan, and so he's like, that must be my name. But it was really remembering his daughter saying mill again. She says like, Dad, can we go to the mill again?
Milligan, dear Lord.
And it's
Oh
like the
man,
stupidest reveal of all time. I feel like that's what this is.
you know the Office character Creed Bratton.
Yeah.
You know how that's the actor's real name, right?
Yeah.
Well, in real life, that's not his like given name by his parents. He on
It's his like
his
musician name.
Well, kind of. He went to Europe with only $20 left when he got there and kind of went on his crazy journey there. But he said he woke up like in the woods near the city or something like that one night, and he had a list of names and all of them were crossed out except Creed Bratton, and then he changed his name to Creed Bratton the next day.
He got someone named Creed Bratton and then just stole his name.
That might have been true, but it sounds like he himself had written this list of names and then crossed them out, and it's very mysterious to me. It's unclear. Like the way the story was told, definitely didn't sound like the purpose of the list was alternate names for yourself. It was something else,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
somehow
And
this.
then he's like, oh yes, this is a sign. I need to change my name. That's so crazy.
And I mean,
That's what
that may be totally
that's
made
what
up, but
happened
what a
with
great
Sveta.
story. Yeah.
Sveta lost her memory, and her last memory was some like fuckboy or something being like, "Oh, you got a G-string girl," and like it like echoed through her
G-string
mind
girl.
when she
G-string
came to, and she's like, "Yes, that's me."
Yeah. I did want to talk about White Fairy a bit more. Just that she was, I don't know if we exactly said it, Mr. Gladley's girlfriend. And I thought it was
hmm
funny that she's chastising Greg specifically, who's one of his students. Obviously she doesn't know that, but
Yeah, Mr. Gladley should have done a better job raising these kids,
yeah.
and then she
Little
wouldn't have had to do
assholes.
this.
So she seemed to be someone who was effective at coordinating relief efforts. So it's like interesting. And I think
hmm
it again adds like we didn't know exactly what happened to Mr. Gladley, but I got the distinct impression after reading this and like piecing the dots together, etc. Like that Mr. Gladley like body blocked one of those various tail whips from Leviathan, just shooting water streams to kill people with, because he was like
hmm
physically in front of her, like even though he was smaller than her, like trying to it just puts Mr.
Yeah, like
Gladley
Taylor
in like
talks
a
about her like clinging behind him, basically, I think.
yeah,
That he's like put himself in front of her.
and that he's like red faced, but he's like standing up to it and like staring Leviathan down more or less.
Mhm.
So it just
R.I.P. Mr. Gladley.
rip. Um, as they say, rip to a real one. Um, yeah, I think we leave Mr. Gladley on some pretty mixed reviews in total. I feel like I don't know. I feel like this chapter just got so much going on. I don't know what I want to talk more about it, but I feel like there are more thoughts percolating in my brain. I'm so glad we get this chapter.
Yeah, I think it was really good. I think, like you said, I think that if they were gonna like publish these as like 5 separate books or whatever, that I think like adding in Parahumans online discussions or things that are not this exactly, but like similar to this, like at the ends or at the beginnings of each book would be like really fun. Like maybe one of those like where are you pamphlets or something. Um, or like an article about like the bank robbery, things like that, you know what I mean? Because like I don't know, it is just like a really nice bookend to be like, here's where the world like outside perspective is right now.
Yeah, that would be good. Like extra little teasers. I also one of the problems with actually cutting it up into books is I don't know that Wildbow would see eye to eye with the way I cut it up because I think
Hmm.
that it's like 1 through 8/9. I actually think it's 1 through 9, and 9 is like a total, or like 9 could be a short novel between them, but it would be like a big denouement, like cliffhanger going into the next section, and then 10 through
Hmm.
14 is like a distinct thing to me, and then 15 through 19, like I know I want to I know Dissecting Worm cuts it into 6 pieces, so I want to quickly pull up
Hmm.
just to reference what they say. But I think it's 15 through 19, then 20 through 20, uh, 4/5 kind of, and then 26 through the end. I think is all kind of one big thing. But
Hmm.
um, they had cut up the story in.
I want to read this
Uh-huh.
insane thing Bill said
Yes.
though.
Yes.
What if Mr. Gladly really was browbeat, though? They died suspiciously close together and never saw them in the same room.
I did read that comment, and I was gonna comment. I think that Browbeat is black. So
Yeah. Well, Mr. Gladly could be okay. We just Taylor's just an idiot.
uh given the way that Taylor walks in the world, I'm not sure that he could be. And we
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
know. I know. She's the worst.
So the way that they cut it up was 1 through 8, 9 through 14, then 15 through 17. That's the part that I think is bananas. And then they go 18 through 22. Um, Even though again there's a time skip at the end of 19, very strange. Then 23 through 26. I can see why you'd want to kind of cut it there. Then 27 through 29, so that they could do a final um, arc 30 and end of it and overview of the whole thing kind of thing. But yeah, it's a little nebulous where you would cut off the story sections because of like a lot of
Just because of
people
the
think,
publication style.
yeah, a lot of people think 20 would slot in the end of this section of the story after 19, but I do not agree with that because there's like a literal multiple week time skip here, and there is not a time skip between 20 through 22. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it could be like an epilogue kind of thing, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have
Um,
anything else to talk about with the characters?
I don't think so. I think Weld comes across really well in this chapter. I think he nails
Yeah,
it.
he's
Oh, and
he's
the
just
first time I
so
read
like
this, I was surprised Vista was
pure-minded.
alive.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought Vista was dead. Um,
yeah.
but yes, Weld. He does his thing. I think his PR is great. I don't know if he talked this over with another cape and they went over it together,
No, I
or if
think
it
he's
was
just
just
a
him.
natural,
Okay,
honestly.
because I
He's
mean,
just so good at it. He like does the winky face in it, and he's like, "I'd like to think da da da," winky face, and you're like, "Oh my God,
it was
it's
Weld,
Weld."
Natch.
Yeah, he's just like such a celebrity.
All right. I was gonna hold off, but I need to use the restroom real quick. You gotta vamp for a minute. You gotta talk to the people.
Oh, dear
You can talk
God.
about anything.
Okay. Well, Vale said 1 through 9, 10 to 16, 17 through 22, 23 to 26, 27 to end. That's my split. Well, this is relevant, okay? Because don't tell Wildbow. I would probably actually email him before I do this, but I have been bookbinding in my free time. So far I've only done rebinds. So basically you murder a paperback and then you create your own hardcover and hardcover design stuff. I've only done finished 2 of them so far. I did Pride and Prejudice and then Frankenstein, which Frankenstein turned out really, really well. I was super happy with it. But when I get really good at it, because me and my friend are gonna start practicing where you make your own text block. So you print out all of the pages yourself and cut them and fold them and sew them together and then sew them into one big block, and then you do the hardcover. And when I get really good at it, I'm coming for you, Worm, because I would love to have a physical copy and be able to have that in my collection and then gift William a physical copy and then maybe do a couple commissions or whatever. That's the thing. If I was gonna do them ask commissions versus gifts, then I would probably reach out to Wildbow, if he's not into people selling his work like that, then not do it. But Vale said, maybe practice on Twilight next. It's kind of in order. Pride and Prejudice, Frankenstein, Twilight. Yeah, true. I think I was gonna do
I am back, by the way.
well, okay, welcome back. I was talking about my bookbinding adventures.
I was listening for a moment.
Okay. Well, we could do our audience participation.
Indeed. So, the question was, what would your Parahumans online handle be, and what cringe things would you post about? Greg says selling. You can ask, but I suspect the answer will be no. Gifts should be fine though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. So, XXX underscore Vale 420 underscore XXX.
Oh my God.
In Japan, instead of the wards, they have the idols, all-girl groups and all-boy groups of capes who fought crime and other parahuman threats, often while performing impeccable songs and dance routines. One sub-idol group in particular, Baby Metal, earned worldwide notoriety in 1994 when a video of them surfaced, them fighting a local villain group while singing a song about chocolate and smiling in unison as each punch landed. Some said they were not real capes, manufactured group in Japan with choreographed fight scenes. I am a firm believer that their power was a group power and they were master thinkers who could perfectly fight while dancing, perfectly dance while fighting, and their lead singer has the best vocals of any lead cape/singer ever. I post about them constantly. New evidence to support my theory, or just clips of their fight songs. Even though they all passed away in the Leviathan attack in 1999,
no.
Anyone who disagrees with me gets downvotes. Yeah.
That is horrendous. I'm sorry.
Pretty amazing. Do you want to read the next answer?
Oh, shoot. I've never read before. Hold on.
You've never read before?
Waldo 2 + 4 × 5 said, username, I am not dead 125. I'd primarily be a lurker, but maybe I'd be super active in a small subforum dedicated to Weld because of that one YouTube meme about his face.
Exactly. And then Greg says, honestly, I wouldn't have an account. Very good chance I wouldn't even lurk. There's too much noise. I let the news reporting or wiki filter the important stuff out from the fan culture and the inane arguments.
Oh my God, Greg, you're not even a cape geek.
But see, the thing is,
You're a fake fan.
Greg was never even on Tumblr, so, you know.
Oh no, it all tracks.
Yeah, exactly. Your, what would you follow? I don't have the brain power to come up with a username.
Okay, so this all depends on if Homestuck still exists. Because
I think that one thing that's true is that Hussy exists in all universes, and there's always some form of Homestuck.
Hold on, how old is Hussy?
I'm not sure if he makes the cutoff.
He's 44 now, born in 1979.
Oh shit! Andrew
Okay,
Hussey exists in the universe of Worm. Dear Lord.
Okay, so if that's the case, then my username is @ignorantplebeian. Um, thank God, because I wouldn't be able to think of anything else. All of my usernames are contingent on being formatted like Hussy usernames.
Mine wasn't meant to be that, but then I jokingly changed mine to match yours, so the formatting does track.
Yeah, because you're a Homestuck superfan.
And total follower.
Total follower. So I would be @ignorantplebeian. If I was keeping like down low or something, like I don't know, like I was a cape or something, then I will do another username that is similar and also has the initials IP. But I won't share it. That's secret, okay? So, then I would definitely be posting. I would be doing like I would be like talking ethics basically. I would be all up on Skitter's board and being like, honest. I feel like I mean I have a really big focus personally on psychology. So if I were somebody who was like educated enough to understand parahuman psychology, like if I had taken classes in college or something about it, then I would definitely be just examining people's powers and like trying to like backtrack trigger events and that kind of stuff, which is I feel like also questionable ethics.
You always do the questionable ethics stuff, so this does track.
I would always do the questionable ethics. And this also depends on if this is me on the message board at Greg age or if this is me now, because oh boy, was I getting in fights online when I was a teenager.
I mean, yeah.
So probably getting in lots of fights on things that I don't even agree with now. So it's like even more cringe.
Yeah, because you're like, oh god, if they remember me, they think that I think that.
Do you think like I'm like such an idiot? Like I'm so embarrassed about the ideas that I was posting about. Phil said you would have been the third person to find out Taylor is Skitter. Sadly, it was 11 minutes before the arrest, so no one believes you.
You've got to believe me, and that's your trigger event. Is no one believes you that you figured it out.
That's my trigger event. Oh my god.
I had a dream about it.
True. Yeah, please. I knew it was Taylor.
Somebody else saw it in a dream, and I knew it was true.
No.
Yeah. Oh man, we got to work on our parahumans OCs again at some point.
I know, but today I was already so elbow deep in the cringe, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Our next chapter.
Wait, you didn't answer.
I didn't answer? Okay.
No.
Well, my name, my name would be the stupid online name that I used when I was a kid, because I would have made the forum thing as a kid, which I shall not speak here. But
yeah, okay.
It's a definite
your full first and last name. Exactly. I love when people do that.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure it. No, it was just a dumb game name. It wasn't anything offensive. I just think it's like, wow, you came up with a name that didn't exist before, but because of your lack of understanding of phonics, because I was very bad at reading and writing and spelling and so forth, then like the way that I pronounced it is just not how it would be pronounced. So every time someone would read it, they'd read it totally wrong, and I like want to facepalm. So
Oh my god.
we'll just overwrite that whole period of history before I could fucking read. And what would I post about? I feel like I'd be like one of these people who's like constantly trying to figure out who's best, but then having a more and more, as time passes, like nuanced view of what does it mean to be who's best, and then I would fall down the rabbit hole of like I would always be like,
do, like, a
but
lot
what
of,
are you
like,
looking
who'd
for in
win
a cape
fight.
power?
Yeah. Be like, who could win in a fight? Also, I feel like you'd be like, what's the PRT hiding from us?
Yeah, I guess I probably would be like that. I was just thinking of like starter stuff of like my starting point would be like who wins in a fight, and then my like ending point is me being Victoria from
Aldrin.
Ward being like, well, you see, there's 3 really important factors in any cape fight. There's information, positioning, and execution.
Oh my god.
I would just
The
become
scene when-
myself in real life.
The scene when Victoria refers to herself as a thinker one because she can fly triggered me so bad.
She can see above the
was like, you-
battlefield.
I was like, you shut the fuck up, dude. Like, keep it to yourself.
I think she does
Okay,
keep it to
Vale-
herself. You only get to hear because you're the audience.
I know. Vale said, I want to run a Weaver dice game so bad. I have the perfect start for it. Ooh, don't let your dreams be dreams, Vale.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
Okay.
I think
Now that you've answered,
now that I've answered
we can
it,
talk.
we can talk about the question 19.Z for the next chapter, and I'm doing it. I'm increasing letter sizes. What would Emma's power be if she had triggered during her interlude in the flashback?
Yes. And I'd like to hear, if anybody has some like, and then this happened. Then I'd love to hear that too.
We can hear a little Vale story about it. So
yeah. And Vale said, "Ooh, I've thought about this one." Okay, save it.
Okay. I mean, we want to know just in the comment thing.
We'll want to know, are we speaking of, are we streaming tomorrow?
I think so. I think that's correct.
Okay. We'll be streaming tomorrow afternoon.
Yes.
Noonish.
Hopefully. We will do our best to figure it out, and then I will try and post before we start instead of just doing an ad. The only reason I didn't do something more like that today was because it's sort of our normal time, but I definitely understand our schedule has been very inconsistent as of late. So
yeah,
we're trying to get back on track for Saturdays. So I'm gonna start up the outro music, I think. Vale's taking off as well, so bye Vale.
Bye.
I'm not sure that I'm gonna have new music ready in time for Arc 20, so we may be hearing this a bit longer. Instead of feeling like it's Noelle in a video game, we're gonna have to feel like it's Taylor talking to someone at a school.
Yeah, totally same
thing. So this music playing is Queen Scourge by ScarlettXOX, who has the Twitch channel twitch.tv/Scarlett_Rogue. She has an every other week tabletop game called Gas Station Blues, where she's like an investigator in a sci-fi setting on like an ice planet. So our Discord server link can be found in the channel and stream description. The author of the work being discussed can be supported on patreon.com/wildbow. The full text of the work is available for free online at parahumans.wordpress.com. And there is also a fan-made audiobook of the entire work at audioworm.rain-online.org. Alright, we've got 20 more seconds of song to kill. What say ye?
I say that your mom.
Oh shit! It's an old-fashioned M-stream outro. I got hit with the your mom joke. Fuck!